In the headlines, Supreme Court stops CBN from implementing February 10th deadline for old Naira notes. National Security Advisor assures INEC of adequate security arrangements during elections. Gunmen kill Imam, chief's son, abduct 14 others in Kaduna State. And on the foreign scene, death toll from Syria-Turkey quake nears 10,000 as rescue operations continue. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10th deadline of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes to stop being legal tender. Three northern states, Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara, had in a motion ex parte filed on February 3rd prayed the Apex Court to halt the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Naira redesign policy. A seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, in a unanimous ruling granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, Central Bank of Nigeria and commercial banks from implementing the February 10th deadline for the old notes. The court further held that the federal government, the CBN and commercial banks must not continue with the deadline pending the determination of a notice in respect of the issue on February 15th. The old Naira notes continue to be legal tenders in Nigeria pending final determination of the suit. Also, Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasiru El-Rufai has described the Naira redesign policy as a recipe for disaster, crisis and hardship on Nigerian citizens. The governor, in a meeting with traders in Kaduna, alleged that the new policy is meant to incite the people against democracy and political system of the country. The governor lamented that the monetary policy was not only a matter of incompetence, but one that was not carefully thought out. Governor El-Rufai stated further that the Naira redesign was a deliberate and calculated attempt to disrupt democracy in the country.
When the Central Bank of Nigeria announced this policy in October, they did not make the new currency notes available until January. And when they did, it was not enough. We now have confirmed that the Central Bank of Nigeria has withdrawn about 2.7 trillion naira in circulation, but they have printed only 300 billion naira in new notes. This is equivalent to collecting 9 naira from a person and offering him 1 naira. It is nothing but a recipe for disaster and crisis. We'd like to think that it is incompetence or bad implementation that caused this problem. But all the information available to us point to the fact that this was intentionally designed at this time to cause a major disruption in the lives of people, to bring commercial transactions to a halt, and ensure that the elections don't even take place.
And 2 days to the deadline on circulation of old Naira notes, Nigerians are still facing chaos and frustrations at banks and automated teller machines, where long queues are formed to get the new currency. Trust TV's Kabir Lawal reports on the ordeal of Nigerians trying to get the money ahead of the CBN deadline. Take a look.
The central bank has extended the deadline from January 31st to February 10th. But the extension has not ended the scarcity of new notes. Instead, it created more queues at the banks. Nigerians have expressed displeasure for the short period given and the persistent unavailability of new Naira notes, saying that the new notes are hard to get even at the automated teller machines.
We have been coming, we'll come, we go call, we'll not go see money. As you can see, I'm just coming back from work with my load. I've been inside here for almost 2 hours. There's no money. I went to Access Bank, they were giving me 50 naira. What am I going to do with 50 naira?
A cross-section of people explained that the ATMs have not been dispensing cash, while some banks are still giving the old Naira notes, contrary to the CBN directives to the banks.
The CBN keeps telling us that the banks have the money to dispense, but if you go to banks, even on the counter, you cannot get. This morning I was inside this bank here, UBA here, to withdraw money. We're told they have just 50 naira.
They says money not there for the ATM. So we are still lining up and sitting down. See some people, they are on ground, sitting down to waiting for manna for heaven to count down.
Most people on the ATM queues said the scarcity makes life difficult for them.
Some people sleep in the ATM from morning till night, every day. Like yesterday, I was here to take some cash. I waited to almost 1 hour and some minutes. I didn't even have the cash. I went back. Today, I'm here again. There's nothing is happening here. Nothing.
This morning, I came in to withdraw. We're told we can only get 3,000 naira from the bank.
Maximum?
Yes, maximum. Because that they are out of cash.
Her point of sale operator said charges are now high because of the stress they pass through before getting the little cash.
If you look around my streets, a lot of POS shop has been shut down because of lack of cash. And most times, we that do this POS, it's very difficult for us to get cash using the ATM. Like I myself here, I have account with Providus Bank. And Providus Bank is the only bank that has been consistent in keeping money in their ATM machine.
President Buhari has asked governors to give him till Friday to address the problem, and Nigerians are anxiously waiting to see what happens between now and then. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And also, the National Security Advisor and heads of security agencies in the country have reassured the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and Nigerians of their readiness to ensure a peaceful and voluntary election. They gave the assurance when the INEC chairman and commissioners visited the National Security Advisor in Abuja. Noel Sampson has more.
As the February and March polls draw closer, there have been concerns about the security of voters and election materials, especially following attacks on INEC facilities across the nation. However, there are assurance of a violence-free and secure environment for the 2023 general elections. Less than 3 weeks to the polls is very welcoming and heartwarming.
The 2023 elections will go on in a climate devoid, bereft of rancor. The security agencies have done a lot in the last couple of months to put things in place.
I'd like to reassure the commitment of the armed forces to supporting the police in whatever form, ensure that the security for the election is solid and that the INEC chairman along with members of this commission conduct their activities without hitch.
I want to assure members of the public that the police, in collaboration with the defense and other security sector personnel, are fully prepared to conduct the 2023 general election in a free, fair, and credible manner.
The INEC chairman is grateful to receive such assurance from heads of the nation's security agencies.
For the Commission, our preparation for the election has gone far. Most of the sensitive and non-sensitive materials are already in the various locations nationwide. Training of all categories of ad hoc staff will take place from the 11th to the 22nd of February 2023. Election technology has been tested, mock accreditation conducted, and configuration underway. The movement of personnel and materials has been worked out with the Land and Maritime Transport Unions. Facilities destroyed in recent attacks have either been repaired already or are being repaired.
Despite assurance from the government that the polls will hold as planned, despite security breaches, stand of the nation's security chiefs as demonstrated during this visit is seen as sufficient to allay all fears ahead of the polls. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Still on election matters, former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, will lead a team of Commonwealth election observers to Nigeria, which will be holding Africa's largest democratic exercise later this month, when it holds general elections on February 25th. Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland constituted the Commonwealth Observer Group following an invitation from Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission. As of January 2023, an estimated 93.4 million registered voters will have the right to cast ballots for presidential and National Assembly candidates in 176,846 polling units across 774 local government areas. She also expressed her appreciation to President Mbeki for accepting her invitation to lead the group, and to each observer for agreeing to undertake this important assignment on behalf of the Commonwealth. And also, barely 3 weeks to the 2023 general elections, there are growing concerns that potential voters may or may not have a proper grasp of the manifestos of candidates and other electoral processes to enable them make informed decisions on who to vote. In this report, Trust TV speaks to Gombe residents on their knowledge of candidates' manifestos ahead of the elections. Take a look.
It is less than 3 weeks to the presidential and National Assembly elections across the country, billed to hold on the 25th of February, a day millions of Nigerians will vote to choose leaders that will steer the affairs of the country in the next 4 years. But there are growing concerns about whether or not potential voters have a clear understanding of the manifestos of candidates of political parties to influence their voting decision. We speak to some Nigerians on how they assess candidates whom they may vote for in the upcoming election. Some people are voting blindly without background check of the candidates. Some, because they want to promote their party, they can just go ahead and vote an incompetent leader without considering the consequences. I focus on the one who knows the problem of the people currently and who will be able to deliver his campaign promises.
Kuma zai iya tabbatar mana kuma da alƙawari kuma akan abunda za mu yi zabe a kansa.
I am assessing the candidates to see whether they have contributed to the development of the people, even if they have held public office or not. To also confirm if he has done anything to develop Gombe State. If he does, I will like him. In a recent interview with Trust TV, a political scientist from the Federal University of Kashere, Babayo Sule, spoke on what the electorate should consider before voting a candidate.
What else are you looking for? A public representative in an office, if not performance. You want him to improve your life. What if it is an incumbent? What has he made on ground? What is he able to achieve? What is the gap he is able to close? Analyze that. If he's a contender that has not been able to win or secure any public office, go through his record. Which office has he held? Is it private? Is it business? What has he done with that? How many people is he able to support, sponsor? How many projects is he able to drag or do within his constituent? Look at that. So this is one. Number two, credibility and integrity. Credibility and integrity speaks volume of a candidate. What is his potential of fulfilling promise of being sympathetic with the public? So people need to look into all this.
As it stands, the hope of all Nigerians is to have credible leaders that will resolve the multiple challenges bedeviling the country. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Community and waste collectors on collision course. Do stay with us.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
security has to be an area they must work on.
We are going to have our own country called Biafra.
You are afraid to come out and move about, lest one hoodlum or the other will harm you.
People who have guns and the rest of them could be attacked. How about we, the helpless citizens?
Olo office was attacked. The ISU office was attacked.
I haven't even seen where people are going to collect their PVC for voting.
The IPOB people, they're not criminals, but they're just crying out for justice and help.
We would deploy reasonably and strategically to make sure that we decimate the activities of these bad elements who are causing problems in the land.
If you're just joining, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now a recap of our top stories. Supreme Court stops CBN from implementing February 10th deadline for old Naira notes. And National Security Advisor assures INEC of adequate security arrangements during elections. Moving on to more stories now, presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he will build a standard rail line, especially in the oil and gas sector, if elected president. He stated this while addressing supporters at a presidential campaign rally held at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
Traffic leading to the venue was on hold and commercial activities got to their peak as the standard bearer of the main opposition People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, stormed the venue with his entourage for his campaign rally. Atiku speaks on issues of economy of the country while commenting on the commencement of oil drilling in the northeast region.
I have also pledged that the petroleum resources that has been discovered between Bauchi and Gombe will be exploited and brought back to the benefit of the people. I have also pledged to make sure that our young men and women receive loans to set up their own small and medium enterprises for self-employment.
PDP stakeholders and supporters across the state and beyond were handy to show their solidarity while leaders of the party spoke on why Atiku is the best candidate for the job.
He's a father who cares about the youths. He's a father who cares about the women. And he knows that we are suffering because in the last 8 years, the APC has brought suffering to our people. But Atiku Abubakar is going to turn Nigeria around and bring us to the Nigeria of our dream.
I bring you the medicine for all your suffering. Medicine for hunger. Medicine for insecurity. Medicine for sickness. Medicine for your children not going to school.
Others who spoke at the rally were the Bauchi State Governor Bala Abdul Qadir Mohammed and the State PDP Chairman Hamza Koshi Akuyam. Atiku, however, assured that PDP is more united in Bauchi State than ever and called on Bauchi electorates to vote for the party at all levels. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And also, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has made a U-turn on the availability of the Adokie Amesimaka Stadium for the PDP presidential campaign. The governor had earlier revoked the access granted to the PDP presidential campaign. But speaking at the PDP rally at Ogu Town in Ogu Bolo local government area of the state on Tuesday, Governor Wike said he had accepted that the rally should hold at the venue on February 11th. He also said none of the G5 governors visited Dr. Iochia Ayu, national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. At the PDP rally in Makudi, Benue State capital, Ayu had said Governor Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia visited him after his preferred aspirant lost the rerun governorship primary in Abia. But Wike described the comment as blackmail, insisting that neither he nor any G5 governor went to the residence of Ayu. And also, gunmen have shot dead the chief imam of Nomadic Central Mosque at Rugan Arru, Isiaka Adamu, and a son of a Fulani chief, and abducted 14 others in Kagarko local government area of Kaduna State. A resident, Shehu Ibrahim, who confirmed the killings and abduction through telephone to our reporter on Tuesday, said the bandits invaded Janjala community and whisked away 8 people before proceeding to Rugan Arru, a few kilometers away, and abducted 6 people after killing one of the sons of the Arru, Alhaji Husseini Arru. He said 8 among 11 people that were abducted in December 2022 in Janjala were still in captivity, as 3 of them were freed last week. There was no response from the Kaduna State Command on the latest incident as at the time of filing this report. And also, the hike in waste collection fees in Lagos is becoming unbearable for some residents of the state. To this end, the residents of Oshodi, Mafoluku, Shogunle, and Ewu communities have called on the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to come to their aid. They made the call at a press briefing in their community. Take a look.
Recent increase in charges of waste collection in Lagos State by the private sector partnership PSP has been condemned. It was learnt that the PSP unilaterally increased charges without the knowledge of Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LOMA. However, to curtail these exorbitant charges, the residents of Oshodi, Mafoluku, Shogunle, and Ewotitun community have sought the intervention of Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to stop the exploitation by the private sector partnership. Trust TV noted that 200 naira was charged per room and 700 naira for flat as of May 2021. But the rate has been increased to 450 naira per room and 1,250 naira per flat, while churches and mosques pay 60,000 naira per month. Schools are the worst hit as they pay 90,000 naira monthly. Addressing the media, the leader of the community, Engineer Babatunde Faleye, alongside the secretary, Keku Olugbenga, highlighted the demands of the community.
1. No increment of PSP rates in our community. 2. We don't want the 2 PSP operators in our community any longer. TUNAP and Excellence. We are fed up of their services. 3. No per room or shop billing in our community. PSP operators should charge per house or building type.
Interacted with him, coupled with the fact that the CDC representatives were on ground. We were like 9 to 10 people that got there, and the ND Loma told us some things. Even when we showed him the documents, that have you ever seen a document like this? For the first increment, the MD Loma looked at it and he said, I'm seeing this for the first time. And immediately he called somebody in his office to go and make a copy of that document, and he kept it. I'm sure that is in his own record.
Responding to questions from journalists, Engineer Faleye stated how they have met the Loma chairman on the high exploitation of the residents by PSP.
When we got the circular that it was increasing again between 100% this time and 800%, dependent on the category of the buildings in question. once the struggle started.
The residents also accused the PSP of collecting their waste once in 2 weeks, as against the original instruction of twice per week. They further said if the waste are not cleared ahead of the rainy season, it will lead to erosion in the community.
And on the international scene, families in southern Turkey and Syria spent a second night in the freezing cold as overwhelmed rescuers raced to pull people from the rubble 2 days after a massive earthquake that killed more than 9,600 people. In Turkey, dozens of bodies, some covered in blankets and sheets and others in body bags, were lined up on the ground outside a hospital in Hatay province. Many in the disaster zone slept in their cars and on streets under blankets, fearful of going back into buildings shaken by the 7.8 magnitude earthquake, Turkey's deadliest since 1999. Rescuers in both Turkey and Syria warned that the death toll would keep rising as some survivors are still trapped under rubble. And in sport, the junior Teranga Lions of Senegal have lined up a friendly match against Tunisia ahead of the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. Malik Daf's side will arrive in Tunisia this week for a training tour and will engage the North Africans in a tune-up game before proceeding to Egypt for the Under-20 AFCON. The West Africans defeated Zambia 1-0 in a friendly on Tuesday night in Dakar. Samba Diallo scored the decisive goal in the first minute of the game. Senegal are drawn in Group A with host Egypt, Mozambique and Nigeria. They will face the Flying Eagles in their opening game on February 19th at the Cairo International Stadium. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagiru Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.